Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of Crafting with Cosplay Fabrics. My name is Indra and today I'm going to show you version 2 of how to create metallic edges for cosplay. A few weeks ago I had shared how to do this gold edging that you could use for costumes. That way it looks really beautiful on both sides. And the past few videos I have dedicated to how to use bias tape and create really nice edges and corners for cosplay. So this is a bit of a mix of both of them, and it's very easy. I have actually covered this specific type of like stitch before, but not in this style or with metallic fabric, but I would like to go over it again because I feel like that it's more relevant now since I have done these few videos. So I'm going to be starting with this Scuba Hex. This is just going to be my base fabric for this example, and I have a stretch metallic here, and this is just the 4-way stretch silver, and these are both of course from the Yaya Han collection. So I've went ahead and cut a 2-inch strip. So what we're going to do is basically the same thing that we have done with the bias tape, and that is that both right sides we're going to put them together, just kind of line up the edges, and we're gonna go ahead and sew down the, I guess, the width that you would like your edges to be. And for this particular type of project, I do recommend using, because they are stretch, I would usually say doing zigzag, but for this type of finish you want to use a straight stitch, but try to use a foot that might be for pleathers or things like that. So a walking foot is preferred, but you can also use something like Teflon or something that basically will help the fabrics roll. So let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you the next step. So I've gone ahead and just pinned my piece together, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sew this. What I like to do is use the edge of my foot, of the presser foot, as sort of like a general size. It's easier than having to like measure everything. So but of course you do this to the size that you would like to. I'm gonna go ahead and sew that down. Okay, so your piece should look like something kind of like this, right? So the next step is going to be to flip this, right? And then flip it under. So flip it over and then just kind of tuck that. And then go ahead and pin that into place. I do recommend whenever you're working with anything like this to of course press your pieces using an iron, but because this is metallic, do make sure to use a pressing cloth or something on top when you're ironing it. That way it won't get rid of that metallic finish. So go ahead and pin this and try to get it as close to that edge as possible. Try not to pull it too much to where it starts to roll, but just so where it's flat. And you'll see this, it's gonna have like that sort of like lip, and that is the part that we'll sew down once we have that pinned down. Okay, so it should look a little something like this. So now we're going to go ahead and sew this down. I recommend that we do a stitch in the ditch, which is right here, or at least very, very close to that edge. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew that super close to this edge. Here is what that will end up looking like. I used a blue thread to show you where my stitch is. But of course you want to pick something that will match your main fabric, so this bottom fabric. So if I had used a white thread, you would be barely able to see that. So this is what it ends up looking like just from stitching that on. So the next step will be to then get rid of this like excess. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut that as close as possible to that stitch line that we just did. And don't worry if it's not perfect, don't worry if it comes out like a little jagged or whatever. This is mostly for projects where you're not necessarily seeing like totally the back, that it needs to be perfect. Otherwise I would recommend the other tutorial, but this is when you need certain fabrics, certain edges to look nicer, and of course you clean that up as best as you can. Just a little cut, that way you don't have that flap, just in case your costume is like folding a little bit and you know you don't want that big flap. So there you go, and it looks so crisp, it looks so nice, and this is without me even like ironing it down or anything, so you can imagine. And of course you can do this with any color, any metallics, but I really wanted to show you how beautiful this can look. So definitely give it a try, and let me know what you think. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that this helps you. I hope that this gives you ideas for some future cosplays. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon for another tip, trick, or tutorial featuring cosplay fabrics. Bye bye.